Hi, eighth graders. Sorry I haven't seen you in a few days, but I wanted to talk with you via video. So I hope you're all doing a wonderful job for Mr. Kennedy and that we did a great job yesterday. Um, but I wanted to pop on and walk you through what your work today will be. So you've just finished up What'd You Miss Wednesday, and I know many of you did not complete yesterday's theme work form, the reading in the form. So hopefully you finished that. If not, please get that done tonight. And so our big task for today is going to be drafting a second memoir. And I'm going to walk you through that. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I don't want it to be daunting, but you're going to have a good chunk of class today to just get your idea down in your notebook. And we'll talk about editing. You will need it for Thursday and Friday, so make sure that you are using your class time wisely. Again, it doesn't have to be completely done. This is a slide that we're all using, so do not worry about this quick quiz analyzing mentor text. Since I wasn't there yesterday and I'm not here, I'm not in class today, we're not going to be taking this quiz. So don't worry about that. We are going to be doing the review of creation and curation of strategies, though, and then our drafting of Memoir 2 in the notebook. So we're going to go over that really quickly. We're going to skip ahead from this slide to this next one, 68. And so basically today, I want you going back into your writing territories or your recursive notes or your timed writes, right? And then the whole idea is to kind of exactly what we did last time is to take a small idea and stretch that out into your story. And so now that you have a couple more mentor texts under your belt, you're starting to see how people play around with structure. If we think about In My Mom's Shoes from yesterday, she moves time, right? And it's really short bursts of moments from like that year or that moment. But it all centers around the idea of her mom's shoes, which are symbolic. So you can see a little bit of symbolism in that as well. And we'll recap that when I'm back. But you can take some ideas like we did last time where we mimic a writer. You could also play around with poetry, which we've seen in some of our other texts. I think the mini storied house, and I think home even included a little bit of that. So you can go back through some of the texts that we've read and reread those to get some ideas as well. But basically, our big goal here is continuing on with our unique voice. It might sound different than the other memoir, but you might use some of the same moves. Remember, we said yesterday and the day before that memoirists repeat, right? They have a similar style. And so that doesn't necessarily mean they repeat inside the same memoir. They repeat their style across multiple pieces of writing. And so when you go out to start your writing today, start with like what your story is really about. Like, what are you trying to express about yourself through this story? So for example, if I'm wanting to write about a time when I like wanted to give up, right? So I decided I worked in Chicago before I moved back to Iowa to become a teacher. And I just really didn't like my job and I wanted to quit. And then but I knew like that, hey, I have to have another plan. And so I might write about that moment where like I felt like giving up, but because of the people around me and because of kind of the qualities that were instilled in me from my parents, like I knew I couldn't just give up without a plan to do something different. And so I might write about that moment and see where it takes me. As you're writing as well, you want to think about playing around with structure. You want to think about your mood, your tone, and then like what moments are explanation and what moments are narrative. And those two can blend together. I know some of the pieces that I've looked at so far with your first memoirs, many of you have done a great job of blending the two. Some of them are I can see where you're trying to be informative versus narrative, and I love that we're attempting that. And so again, you want to make sure, and those will be returned to you tomorrow. So your memoir drafts, draft 1 will be returned to you with comments tomorrow. And so be watching for those in either Google Classroom or on PowerSchool. So I'll be updating grades today and tonight. And so as you get to writing today, maybe take the first 5 minutes and draw an outline or go back through your notebook and really think about what are some idea stems. Maybe you want to reread a piece of mentor text from 8 Blocks Away or your memoir pack, the green one. Ignore This Travels with Charlie. That was something that Ms. Tresick did with her class, which we'll get to. We just haven't done it yet. And so these are all things that you can be thinking about. So when you go to your workshop time, right, you're drafting a new memoir today. This idea should be different than memoir 1. And again, this is just kind of your reminder of like how are you creating a unique voice? How are you utilizing structure? I think a really great idea is to think about how time changes. Maybe you're focused on a single object, kind of like in my mom's shoes. That would be a great one to mimic. Because then you're placing symbolism right inside your story, as well as having time move. And so you might be talking about one item and its importance, but you're talking about yourself and how that's impacted you. And so that might be kind of a cool new way to try something out. Right. And then the last thing is like, are you being reflective in the story and like actually saying the theme, or is it something that your reader has to pick up on throughout? And so we'll talk about this when I'm back, but basically notebook check number 2. This is what it looks like. So it's going to be the same thing. How are you taking a small idea and growing it? And notebook check 2 will look a little bit different. I'll talk about this more tomorrow. But it's the annotations that you did yesterday is what we'll be looking at. And then how you are drafting with structure in mind. So that's today. So thinking about how you're taking and you're being really mindful of your own structure, and then thinking about theme and symbolism. And so I'll be a little bit lenient just because I've been gone the last 2 days. So be thinking about these for tomorrow, because I'm going to give you some time Thursday and Friday to work on notebook check, because it seemed like we were just a little bit rushed. And so if you have any questions about any of these items today, you are welcome to email me. I will have my computer or my phone near me. But basically, that's your job today. You are going to be drafting your second memoir. And like I said, take a few minutes, plan out what you're going to do, and then get to writing. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be final draft, but we want to just see where we're at. So again, if you have any questions, you can ask Mr. Kennedy. Ms. Tresick and Mr. Dickinson are also here today. And so you could be asking them, or you could shoot me a quick email. So I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you soon.